Okay, hello everyone. Hello and welcome to a new edition of Human Dialogues. I am really thrilled to be live with you again on this one-on-one interview that we're going to have in just a few minutes with another very interesting human being. As you know, let's see if I can make sure this is working. Yes. As you know, we have a one-on-one human dialogue every month on a human topic, the topic of the month at our institute, the International Institute of Humanology. I am broadcasting and streamlining today live from Spain, not from Switzerland. I am traveling, but you might hear some noise in the background because I'm not at home. Please forgive the quality if that happens, but I am in a hotel and I had to improvise my setting for today. Having said that, we're going to have a very interesting topic today on an issue that for some people is quite complicated, quite difficult. And that is the topic of letting go. You know, some people have problems letting go of other people, you know, breakups, maybe death is one of those situations in which it's hard to sometimes let go. It is sometimes hard to let go of our old selves to become the selves we want to be. Sometimes it's hard to let go of old jobs, old positions, even professions. You know, some people decide they don't want to continue doing what they've been doing professionally for a while and they want to change careers and they have to let go of the old one. Some people have difficulties letting go of ideas, dreams. As you can see, this is a wide topic that I am sure will be interesting to many of you watching us today or watching the rerun later on our YouTube channel. To speak about this very, very, very interesting topic, we have a very special guest who will be connecting with us from Switzerland. Isn't that funny? I leave Switzerland to come to Spain and then we connect with somebody in Switzerland. Well, that's life. The person we're going to have this very interesting conversation with today is Markus Ammann. I hope I'm pronouncing the name properly. He used to work as a psychologist, or he trained in applied psychology, and then started working in technology. He devoted many years to working in IT and data security. And as time went by, he realized that those fields were not really that focused on social sciences, which were his real passion, but more on technological aspects, technical issues. So he decided to retrain and to become a coach. He's been working, combining both things. He's been working as a coach for quite some time now. And I am sure that he will be sharing some of his insights and everything he learned in that process himself too. Markus is Swiss-born. He lives in the beautiful city of Basel, and he's also a dad with a very modern and interesting family. He is 45 years of age right now, and I am thrilled, extremely happy to welcome him on this virtual stage that we have here today on Human Dialogues. Markus, hello and welcome.
Thank you very much for the invitation. It's very good to join you here. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Markus, for joining us. I am sure many people will be very interested in what you have to share. Let me just begin by your professional career. See, we're talking about letting go. And you decided to let go of some of your old training and some of your old tasks to embrace new ones. So I know that for many people, that is very difficult. People have great difficulties when choosing to leave the old, career or profession behind. What was it like for you? And what did you learn, Markus?
Well, for me, actually, it was more like I've been trained in applied psychology, as you said in the beginning, and that basically was my starting point, right? So after that, I deviated a little bit into the IT world, actually for a few years, which was quite an interesting experience and quite a lot of fun. I'm actually also still doing IT work. It's not like that. But after a certain time, I just really realized I'm developing into the IT field. I'm getting a lot of expertise also there. but it was not really what touched me. Also in the IT field, I was always like, going more into the direction of Scrum mastery or like meeting moderation, or it always like pulled me a little bit into the more human factor things, right? So I thought like, instead of like getting even deeper into technology parts, I'd rather really go and steer back. It wasn't kind of a letting go, it was quite the opposite, because I wanted to go back to the roots, because psychology was really just everything I always cared about. Humans, what drives them, what makes them happy, actually. Not like, technology-wise, but just as humans, as themselves. And then I just went to coaching courses. Like I have 3 certifications in coaching. And then I also implemented that into my professional portfolio.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I stand at the moment. I'm doing partly IT, partly human things, and partly coaching, right?
Which fits perfectly fine with our institute, because as you know, we work on humanology, which is this new discipline that studies and explains human beings in this very integral way, because we understand that human beings cannot be studied or understood only from the point of view of the mind, because human beings are more than their minds. So we try to approach the human being in this global, comprehensive way. So you started with psychology, went through a lot of things, mixed everything, put everything together, then went into coaching. Psychology and coaching are 2 approaches to human beings. And I suppose you didn't have to let go of psychology to become a coach or to work with coachees, right?
Absolutely not. My first thing why I actually didn't really go into psychology was because I really did not feel like working with people that do have a pathology behind themselves, because I really, how can I say that in a diplomatic way? I did not want to do that to myself. I did not want to do that to the other parties, because I value the time that people are investing in getting a treatment and in therapy, but I never felt like I'm a therapist that actually cures someone. I was really like, even before there was coaching, I mean, the coaching hype is gigantic at the moment, but there was a time before that, right? And it was not always so clear that there are people out there that are completely sane, right? But that really just want to develop, right? And the development part is what always fascinated me. So this is basically the point that made me switch. I think switching from psychology to coaching is not a real switch, just like you say. It needs both, right?
You see, that's part of what we teach in humanology. When we train humanologists, we give them some basic training on coaching, mentoring. Positive psychology is one of the things we give a lot of content on, philosophy, psychiatry even. So we train them in many different tools that they can put together whenever they're working with clients. Because sometimes, and I'm sure you will agree with this, Marcus, a client needs a coaching session, but sometimes they need a psychological kind of support and not so much a coaching session. So I would suppose that you combine everything you know into helping your clients, right?
It's part actually of the coaching process, right? I think it's an ethical thing that if you actually realize that the coaching client does have a pathological problem that needs a therapy, that you actually really, I, for myself and everybody that I know from our institute that we have had where I was, is like feeling obliged that you really say, I'm not the therapist, because it's something completely different. I'm a coach and I can help you with a topic that is resolvable, right? With a certain kind of mindset that probably needs some tweaks here or there. But if there's a pathology, you need a therapy. And that's something where I would say there's the limit of coaching, right?
Yes, totally agreed. And that's why we say that clients need different things in different situations or for different problems. Exactly. And we need to know exactly what to give. So you have been working with coaching with different types of clients, right? And you also had a little evolution in that field. Why don't you share what you're doing right now with what kind of clients are you working with right now? Let us know.
Well, I have actually also discovered life and healthcare coaching. Well, it's really like, putting a focus on your own self-care globally. So that you really analyze the topic that you bring, but also, how is my life going in general? And here together, I have introduced my partner to coaching. She has now actually graduated her first certification as a life coach. And in that topic, we basically found out like she was like 17 years in a marriage and has 3 kids, right? And then she decided that life itself in the partnership is not her own life anymore. So she really decided to let go, right? And she really had a long time and struggled to do that and to really let go of that. And there basically came the idea, because everything really turned out really well, right? She after that found me. Then we went into that patchwork family thing that we've built. Then also we have a really fantastic relationship to the father of the kids, and everything is great. So what we have been thinking was, why don't we really encourage people to think about, if you're not really happy in the situation that you are, why not at least give it a consideration to change something? And that's not really a letting go question. It's more an elaboration of whether should I actually let go? Would it be worth to let go? Or is it more worth to say, okay, at some point I've decided I need a coach, or I need to talk with someone about this because I'm not really happy. Can we do something that we are getting happy again? So before things break apart, right? So, and this is the project that we're currently working on, because we are a couple, right? And we're 2 coaches, and it just makes perfect sense, I think.
And that is something that completely matches the topic of today, which is some keys to letting go. I suppose that working with these type of couples and this type of relationships, you encounter a lot of people who have doubts about whether they should let go or they should not. And what is the tipping point, between I will not let go or I will let go? Yes, tell me.
When you actually invited me to the interview, there was like, I don't know anymore, but somewhere it was saying like, do you have to let go, right? Or you have to let go. One of the questions was, is it absolutely necessary to let go? Do we have to let go? And what always triggers me a little bit in the connection to coaching is the have to part, right? Because I have a client that comes to me and has some topic, right? And most of the times that topic is surrounding somewhere around, I want to get out of a situation. So I have to get out, right? So part of the coaching basically is to reverse that into, okay, not where do you want to leave, but where do you want to go, right? Problem-centric versus solution-centric, we all know that, right? But the first thing that then happens is you have to let go. So someone comes to me, asks me, I don't want to have to anything anymore. And my reaction is, okay, I'm telling you what you have to. And that just doesn't work, right? So for me, my approach is you don't have to do anything. You can just also stay in your horrific, terrible situation if you want. Let's just find out how much sense it makes, right? So that's basically my approach. So also the have to factor, to just take that out, right? Because what I think and feel is what you have to build and support is intrinsic motivation. To have someone actually want to change. And for that, you need to make them see where they want to go.
Okay, so if I'm understanding you properly, Markus, letting go then becomes either a side effect of the process, or it just doesn't happen, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And if it doesn't happen, it still is a decision that you can consciously make, right? or something changes into something else where you don't even have to let go, so that you can just, like, develop the situation back into something that you desire.
Okay,
This is also a part of the key mission that we have to, help people not to let go at a point where it is not yet necessary to let go, where nothing is entirely broken yet.
Okay, so let's imagine a situation. Okay, I was working in the Spanish version of the Institute the other day with somebody who specializes in accompanying people who lose a loved one. All right, and we were talking about grief and letting go of people who die and they're gone. And sometimes it is hard for people to let go of those who are gone. So yeah. I suppose that, it's not only when people die, but maybe when a relationship breaks and it's hard for the partner to let go of the other person or to let themselves go as well. So let's imagine a situation in which somebody comes to you and says, my marriage 15 years broke up, but I don't really want to let go. I'm suffering because it broke, but I don't want to let go. Okay, we're just creating a case so that people who are watching us fully understand how you would go about this process. Would you like to share how you would do it?
Yeah, of course. I mean, basically in that situation, I really try to listen to the case that is there, right? And to the topic, show empathy and take it seriously that the person does not really want to let go. But I think the key factor in the target area is, do you have a realistic influence on the outcome that you desire? Basically, my partnership is not broken and my partnership is fixed and my partner is back happy with me. If that partner now is already married again since 3 years, that's probably going to be a little bit hard, right? So just to explain that, and make it clear that the target is not realistic because it is not achievable by the client itself, right? So, and I think most people, in my experience, understand that when the time comes, that they do not have the influence to really achieve the goal that they have set for themselves. So my partner comes back to me, but what can you do about it? You could make contact. What could go wrong? He could say no. But probably, would you like to make that contact? Would you like to really give it a last try to convince the partner to come back to you? What can go wrong? We can reject. Would that be bad? Yes, it will be bad, but it will give you clarity and it will give you certainty, right? So then we prepare the talk. If the client is convinced that talking is a good option, right? And then we get that out of the way, because probably, I mean, I also check up what's the realistic what's the realistic approach to how this partner will react. And probably he's going to say no, but in the real world, then he said no, right? And then in the next session we can discuss, okay, what are we going to do now? I still want him back. Yeah. What was positive about that relationship? What would you like to have back? What could someone else give you? I mean, just in much more length, right? But in a nutshell, that's what I would do about that.
So if I understood you right again, I would say that one of the keys to letting go then is to analyze your realistic outcomes, like you said. So that would be one of the keys that people should consider when thinking about letting go of somebody or something, right?
What can I do to achieve my goal? I mean, if you have to let go of someone that has died, actually, you can't bring them back. It's not possible. So what can you do to cope with the grief? I mean, I'm not a grieving specialist here. I think it's a very difficult topic, because you really have to let go of something or someone that probably did not want to go themselves, right? I think it's an entirely different topic to let go of someone that died, right? Because they're not coming back because they can't, because it's not possible, right?
Yeah, it's not possible that we know of, at least.
Yeah.
So what can I do to let go? And what would you say if the situation that you encounter with one of your clients is, I am thinking about letting go of what you said before, my profession, and moving into something else, something a little bit more pragmatic. What would you do in that kind of situation? How would you help somebody deal with the idea of letting go of some old self or profession?
I would really go into visionary work. I would ask, what would you like to do? What is, probably we could talk about the past, like what have you done so far? What did you like about it? What did you not like about it so much, right? What would you like to do in the future? What would you probably want to leave out in the future? And what profession would be good for you to bring these things to the table? Because you have grown into a person that you are right now. So that means you have used talents that you have developed in the past. So to identify those talents and resources and then take them into a potential future and leave out all the rest, basically.
Well, this is fantastic. Markus, we already have 4 tips, 4 keys that we identified. The first one is the realistic outcome we mentioned. The second one is, of course, communication. The third one is asking yourself, what can I do to let go? And the fourth one is that visionary imagining and creating possible situations and outcomes and giving them some flesh so you can really approach them.
I mean, it all comes down to, it all connects together, right? You want to build an intrinsic motivation that the person really gets like caught on fire with the solution that they find. And they find the solution with fulfilling the needs that they have in life. And the needs that they have in life, they fulfill with the resources that they have built because they always drive into the direction to fulfill those needs. So if you have a malicious or non-working strategy to get your desires fulfilled that have a lot of side effects, you just have to find a way to fulfill your needs in a more productive way. So and I think it all comes together in the end with what we all know as the why, right? Why are you doing this? And for me, also a very, very important aspect of it is not only what do I want to achieve or where do I want to go, but who as a person do I become when I achieve? Which I think is very overlooked sometimes. Who have I become in order to get where I wanted to go? Why did I want to go there anyways? If not in order to develop into something very specific.
Yep. We usually say in Humanology that the first thing you need to do is you have to know and understand who you are so you can take action. And what you're basically telling us is people should really make the effort of getting to know whom they are and understand themselves if they want to undertake any changes or do anything with themselves. Any other keys that you can think of that you would like to share before I ask you the next question, Markus?
I think we're pretty complete with this on this one. So we can go on if there's more questions.
So yeah, I have one question that as a coach myself, I know you partially answered, but to those who are not coaches and who are not familiarized with this kind of work, it might not be that clear. So I want to ask it and put it on the table. Okay. What about fear? A lot of people say, yeah, I want to let go, but I'm afraid. And then you say, well, we can do the visionary work and you can imagine other situations. And they say, yes, I see it, but I'm still afraid. How would you work with that?
I like to take the example, right? That, that I said, let's just be pretentious for once. In the forthcoming future, next 2-3 years, let's pretend nothing goes really awry. We are not heading straight back into a pandemic. There is no meteorite strike, no alien invasion. Everything goes well. How does that look? where are you in 1 year, where are you in 3 years, and everything really goes as planned. So I think the vision that then develops gives you at least some sort of courage.
Mm-hmm.
And what's also very important for this kind of fear reduction is we always have to be very aware that we are like, everybody is a world champion in sticking in the comfort zone, right? So and just foster the feeling of adventure. Do you want to go somewhere else? Or do you just want to stay where you are? I mean, for me, in 90% of all cases, people come because they want to change something. It's for me, it's pretty rare that I have someone that at the end of the session says, "No, everything that is great. So let's just
Then what are
accept
you
it
doing
the way
here?
it is and go home." So I say, why are you actually seeking out for a coach? Is what I think to myself, right? Because if you know, I mean, it's also a matter of clarity. Then that's fine. But if you don't want to change anything, why explore, right? So.
Mm-hmm. One last question, Markus, that I have for you is, we hear, especially new age kind of people, saying that in order to continue growing as human beings, you have to let go to make room for the new. You know, if you don't let go of the past, you cannot become your new. If you don't let go of blah, 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 you don't have any space to grow. What do you think about that? Do you agree with that statement?
I always accept any kind of worldview because we are all different. But for me personally, it's just not really correct, because what I said earlier, we have resources. We have like artifacts in the past of strategies that we've been using that were at least partially successful. Successful, why? Simply because of the fact we're sitting here and talking together, because we haven't died, right? So we did have some strategies, at least, that are partially successful. So why not dig those strengths up, take the resources, and then rebuild something new, right? So, I mean, it doesn't really make sense to condemn the past altogether all the time. I think it's more important to look back and see what has been my part of the past, how did I deal with it, and how well did it work? What could be done differently, and what can stay the same? It's always a matter of sorting out what can stay and what can go, and what can stay. Why not use your strengths? It doesn't make any sense. And what I also think is very important in both the last two questions combined is you have to be aware that your past does not need to equal your future. Not everything needs to continue the way it was, but it can grow into something better without throwing the past out of the window. So if you have a past, why shouldn't you learn from it? That's what I'm saying to that.
Thank you for that, because I fully agree. And I am a little tired of axioms, you know, people saying this is what you have to do. I think maybe one thing many people could let go of is limiting sentences. Everything is flexible, everything is needed at some point by somebody, and we should perhaps allow ourselves the freedom to just be whomever we are. And I fully agree with what you said.
Yeah, and there's enough room for everyone, right?
Yes, totally. And there's enough room for everyone the way they are.
Great.
Well, thank you so much for this conversation. It was really, really interesting. I'm sure that those of us who were watching and who will be watching later got a lot of insights, a lot of ideas from everything you explained. I loved your clarity. It was absolutely fantastically explained. And I am sure that it will make a lot of people think that there's many things that can be done, and that perhaps it is time to start questioning whether they should leave that comfort zone that you were talking about behind or not. Thank you so much, Markus.
Thank you for having me.
It was a delight chatting with you, and we hope to have you in future editions of Human Dialogues. We wish you the best. Yes.
Great. Thank you very much. All the best to you as well. and
Yes.
have a good evening, everyone.
And continue enjoying beautiful Switzerland. Thank you, Markus. Bye,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
See you in the next edition of Human Dialogues. Bye.